To begin setting up your machine, you will need to put the two halves of your sweater machine together. Remove the protective tape just on the inside of the needle bed. Then snap the two bed sections together. It will be a snug fit. Turn the beds over. Then on the underside, just use the nut and bolt that comes with your kit to fasten them together. Push the clamps through the hole in the front of the machine, making sure the top of the clamp slides between the bed and the metal rod that joins the bed modules together. Make sure that the clamps are inserted all the way in and pushed back. The front bottom edge of the needle bed should just line up with the edge of the table. Do the same with the other side and tighten the wing nuts under the clamps. Be sure not to tighten so much as to tip the bed forward. This would move the needles by mistake and make it difficult for you to knit properly. Remove the protective tape on the top of the needle bed. Remove one of the number strips and attach it to the needle bed just in front of the green retainer bars, starting with the unshaded section of the strip. Now attach the second strip, but be sure the section that's in the center starts with the shaded section. The number strips are very adhesive, so be sure they don't stick on the wrong place. There are 4 needle positions. Holding position, the yarn is held over the needles when you knit a row. Forward working position, used for casting on and some fancy stitches. Working position, normal knitting position. And non-working position, the needles do not work when they're here. Using the green cards, push the needles you want to use in the holding position. There should be an equal number of needles on each side of the center. Place the green cards behind the needles to keep them from moving back. The needles that now have the green cards behind them are in what's called holding position. We will learn more about needle position shortly. Insert the 4 rod weights into the hem, overlapping them in the center. You will be placing 2 rods on each side of the hem. Pick up the weighted hem and find the center, which is marked with a small hole. Hold the hem so the center hole matches up with the center needle bed where you join the 2 halves. Now line up the hem so that 1 plastic strip goes in each space between the needles. Check to be sure there's only 1 hem strip between each needle. Lay the top of the hem on the needle bed and make sure the latches are open that you want to cast on. Here is a closer look at the latches and how they look when they're open. You don't have to open them individually. The transfer tool makes it easy to open them. Now cut a piece of elastic thread and lay it into the open hooks. Attach a small clip to each end of the elastic thread to hold it in place. Fold the hem evenly over the elastic thread, making sure the plastic strips are between the needles and not resting on any of them. Then push the hem all the way back against the needle bed. Put the carriage on the needle bed, making sure it's hooked over the back rail. This is important. Lift up the carriage handle and insert the number 3 key plate with a number facing up. Make sure it slips under the 2 side shelves in the back of the carriage. The key plates easily fit into the carriage and are used to determine the size of the stitch knitted that is best suited for the yarn you've chosen. If you want to change the size of your stitch or the type of yarn you're using, simply change the key plate. Remember, for some of you, this is going to come very easily, but for many others of you, it will take a little bit more time of trial and error and practicing. But stick with us, and we're going to be going over some very important points for knitting in the next section.